All right, so today is November 4th. Just making sure for any friends playing at home. The 4th of November, November 4th. I don't know how else to say that. So, we are gonna end up join in.
Whoever it is.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Leonard. Happy birthday to you.
How old are you, Amanda? 29? Lie about it and say she's really young. She's 29. Forever. She's not 29, but say she is.
How old are you?
27. Alright, so hey, bring it back. Bring it back. The only way we can do that is we can bring it back. I'm gonna end up today, hopefully, and then we'll probably bleed into Monday a little bit. I'm gonna end up teaching you how to make your money turn into more money. So, if there was one day that you would want to pay attention, even though today's a Friday, it's probably today. So, let's wrap up our 3-2 so we can get to our 3-3. So when we wrapped 3-2, we were talking on the front here about the different cars. Who can kind of summarize what we learned about these 3 different cars and the commission and all that stuff? Caleb?
That the car dealer, the dude who's like, well, this car is great.
The salesperson?
Yeah, the salesperson. They want you to get the expensive one so they get more commission.
Yeah, why is that?
Because they want more money, and so they're like, but this car is fabulous, and that's a bad car, and yeah, I can see you in this one.
When the percent is the same for all of them, right? No matter what car he sells. Sorry, I'm trying to get Smart Ink to turn back on. There we go. No matter what car he sells, he gets 6% of
Commission.
6% of whatever he sells. So the more he sells, the more he makes. He can't change that percentage, but he can change how much he sells, or he can try to persuade you. So when we look at houses, real estate agents also get commission. Now, I want you to think about a question first. Their commission rate is only 3% compared to... Hold on. Think. I said I want you to think. Does not involve your mouth. Their commission rate is half. Their commission rate is half what that car salesman made. But who do you think will make more money? Zion?
Actually, I wasn't here today. I was at the dentist.
They're there. Yeah, they're there.
Just look for the top, right here, with the cars.
Okay, thank you.
Just take one of them.
Casey?
The
Why?
house sells because even though it's just a little percentage, the house costs more money.
Even though the percent is less, and it's actually half comparatively compared to the car, we care also about what the whole value is. A whole value of the car being $33,000. Sure, that's an expensive car. You'll get almost $2,000 when you sell that. But when we compare it to a house being $345,000, let's look at how much commission they get. So, for part A, we want to answer how much commission that real estate agent is going to receive from selling this house. So, Sarah, when we ended class yesterday, your card was on top. How do I set this up to solve for how much commission we are going to make?
Part equals percent times whole.
There it is. So we're looking for the part that they make. So commission is our part now. So that's going to equal the percent times the whole. If you are struggling to set this up, I would write out the equation without any numbers first on your paper. Because then I'm just going to replace my commission with C. C is going to equal, well, Sarah, what's my percent here? 3%. And when I turn that into a decimal so I can actually do the math, how do I turn that into a decimal? How do I turn that into a decimal? Gravity works. Right?
You multiply it by 100.
Multiply by 100?
No, divide it by 100.
Divide by 100. Be careful which direction we're going. Remember, percent tells me to do the division. If I'm going from decimal into a percent, then I multiply. So I divide this by 100, and I get 0.03 times the house price, $345,000. And that real estate agent, off selling one house, that could have taken a week, it could have taken a few months, but they sold one house, and they're going to make, Ellie?
For one house.
That's
$10,000 for selling a house.
That's like a paycheck in like a month.
I'll be I'm very forward with all, like, what I make is public knowledge. A paycheck for me, 2 weeks worth of money. How much money I bring home. So not what the paycheck is, but you guys are talking about gross versus net, right? So my gross, then I have taxes and everything else taken out of it. My net that I bring home is just over $1,200 for 2 weeks.
That's, yeah.
$10,000. Way different. But
they don't get paid otherwise.
they don't get paid otherwise. The only way a real estate agent makes money, unless they work for a company that pays them separately, but most real estate agents, the only way they make money is selling houses. So if they don't sell a house, they don't make money. But when they do, they make a lot. Saul?
So, back to the earlier question you first asked, like how much money compared
Yeah.
to the car dealership. Technically, the car salesman could make more money.
How could he?
At a ridiculous rate, because you can't really sell houses. You can sell like 5 cars in a day.
You really could, yeah. If it's, summer, those cars fly off the lot. Everyone buys cars during the summer.
You don't become a real estate.
And what, Solomon?
And they pay you minimum wage.
Depending on where you work, yeah, they might also pay you like an hourly rate. Katie?
Don't most cars also get sold in the winter because of snow?
Yeah, so it depends on what type of vehicle people are buying. And we can actually do some research on like when are cars popular to buy versus when are SUVs popular to buy versus when are trucks popular to buy and that sort of stuff. And there's different times. But a lot of people, before they go on vacation, they'll like go buy a new car. So spring, summer. Yeah, depending. I'm sure there's a fluctuation depending on the dealership and everything. Olivia?
So if the real estate agent sold the house for $345,000, does the rest of the money go to the buyer's bank?
So now the question we have to answer, how much does the seller get? Now, somebody could sell their house without a real estate agent, but it's a lot of time and a lot of effort. And when you get to your adult life, you have to determine what is my time worth compared to what should I just pay somebody else to do because they're better at it. So real estate agents have mastered the art of selling houses. If I go to sell my house, I know nothing about it. So sometimes it's worth paying somebody else. But then we lose some of that money. So if $10,350 goes to the real estate agent, that's $10,350 that the seller doesn't get. So we subtract it away. And to answer part B, when I do that subtraction, Josh, I then get
Dang.
$334,650.
Whoa.
So did the seller still get a good amount of money?
I mean, then they have to pay the bank.
No, yeah, you got to pay taxes and different things. But so here's the other thing, because somebody asked me like, why wouldn't you just sell it on your own? Somebody from one of the other classes.
It's hard.
If you own a house, most people that are selling their house haven't completely paid it off yet, which is okay. You can sell your house while the bank still owns like part of it. It's kind of complicated to understand. But here's the thing. If I go to sell my house, I'm either living in it while I'm trying to sell it, which is really annoying and not as nice for selling it because people walk in and it looks like your house. They don't think that it looks like their house. Or if I move and now I've got my new house and my old house that I'm trying to sell. Well, what am I still probably having to do with this old house? Carolyn? I'm still paying for it. And now I'm also paying for this. So I'm paying for two houses at the same time. And that gets really expensive really fast.
You sell the house, you can use that money to pay for it.
If I sell the house. So that's where sometimes it's just worth it to pay the real estate agent to get rid of that house so then I can just pay for this house. On purpose.
Oh, okay.
So this is where you have to make that tough decision. I'm going to say goodbye to $10,000, but I can also get rid of my house. Casey?
Okay, 2 questions. One, on this poster, is that what we're doing? That's the method we're doing?
Kind of, depending on which, yeah.
Okay. and then
That they just
second
use one
question-
different word than we do. Instead of using whole, they use the word base on that poster.
Which one?
So, my second question is, do real estate agents work for a company?
Some are independent. You don't have to necessarily work for a company.
But if you do, just the money, some of the money have to go to your...
Yeah. Because normally they would pay for like you to have an office and things like that, and you're under like their insurance and different things. So a portion would go to them.
And then another question.
Okay.
So when the real estate people they like dress up the house to make it like look really
Yeah, when they
nice
prep
and
it.
stuff, do they have to do that, like pay for it and stuff?
Well, if you work for a company, like let's say we work for HER, right? They're a home company that you might see signs around here. They might have a warehouse of staging furniture, like beds and things that you can put in the house real easy, lamps and curtains and that I don't have to pay for. I can just go use them, and then when I sell the house, I put them back in the warehouse. So like HER would own that stuff. But when I sell the house and I have to give a little bit of my money to HER, that's why. Because I get to use all of their stuff. I'm using their name. I'm using that office. Like I've got their sign out in the front yard. You know, like so. If I'm just Micah Hudson Home Seller, I would have to go pay for that stuff on my own. The sign in the front yard, I'd have to pay for that on my own. Like I'd have to do everything on my own. So it depends on how you want to work. Sarah? Yeah. And some people, like, if they're trying to sell their house, they will just buy new furniture, put it in their house so it looks nice, and then when it sells, they take the furniture with them.
Do you want to
Like,
sign up
which,
for the guy?
or I've even heard of some people just take it back. Like, if it's still got tags on it, and if you haven't used it, you haven't used it. So, like, that's not necessarily, like, right, depending on how but if you didn't use it, I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about that, but I've never tried to sell a house. One more and we got to move on. Sebastian.
Okay, you know what's a landlord?
Yeah, that's when you're renting.
Yeah, like when you rent a house, do you still need to pay for that house?
Yeah, you pay rent on it instead of paying mortgage for it. So, like, let's say you're the renter and I'm the landlord.
Yeah.
You would pay me rent. See, I'm taking your pencil sharpener as rent. Then I go over to the bank and I give them my mortgage, which probably has your rent involved in it. Hopefully, I get to keep a little bit out of the rent that you gave me for like my profit.
So basically, I pay you and you pay the bank.
And then hopefully I pocket some. And you get a roof over your head, which is nice. All right, so now the question. Which would we choose? Choices make everything a lot more difficult. So you get a job as a car salesman. And they say, all right, you have to make a choice. Who's our car salesman? Olivia. You are our car salesman. You've got to make... It's your... Oh, nice. Well, now you're selling cars. What an important day. It's your first card day, and now you're selling cars. So, Olivia, you have to make the choice. Do you want to make $1,500 every time you sell a car, regardless of what the car is? Or would you like to make 6% commission, so 6% of the price of the car? What would you need to know in order to make that choice? So give it a second, percolate it. This 6%, when we talk about commission, drag these down. Commission is always our part, right? So the commission will equal, in this case, they're offering you 6% of the price of the car. Or it wouldn't really be called commission at that point, but the or is you just get $1,500. There's no math to do, there's nothing.
I have something.
I know, but it's Olivia's problem. What affects how much commission you get? Because we know the 6%. What do we not know yet? We don't know the whole. The price of the car, right? If you're selling cheap used cars for $2,000 or $3,000, well, 6% of like $3,000, that's not going to be $1,500. I know $1,500, that would be half of $3,000. But what if you're selling Lamborghinis?
No.
So here's what we need to set up. And on your paper, you're probably going to do it right down here, I would hope. And I'm just going to leave this sitting up here. You don't have to have this formula written down, but you can if you want. Let's figure out what price of car would make me more than $1,500. So I want to know, when is the commission the better choice? So to do this, we just want to set up, if my commission was $1,500 and that was 6% of something, some price, I'm just going to say V for the vehicle price.
Oh, I know what to do.
So then, Caleb, do you know what we do to get the V by itself? If you don't, I got a whole stack of cards. No, Derek, do you know what we do to get this V by itself? What do we need to get rid of? To get V by itself, what needs to be gotten rid of?
No, I'm not sure.
Okay. Aiden? The 0.06, right? If I want it by itself, this is the other thing on the side. So I want to get rid of that. Piper, how do I get rid of the 0.06? Yeah, divide it by itself, which makes it turn into a 1 and essentially disappear. If I do it on one side, I have to do it on the other side. And my vehicle price will end up, if I made $1,500 commission, this is what my vehicle price would be. Did you calculate it?
No.
Katie?
$25,000.
$25,000. So here's what we learn from the math that we just did. If Olivia is selling cars cheaper than $25,000, she should choose the $1,500. If she's selling cars over $25,000, she should choose commission. Because if she sells a $30,000 car, this will be more than $1,500. But if she sells a $25,000 car, like what we just calculated, she'll make $1,500. Josh?
But I wouldn't really try to sell anything any higher than that and ask for the commission part, because you don't want to have a car that costs too much.
But what if you work at BMW? Are many of your cars below $25,000? No. But if I work at Honda,
But people don't always buy the more expensive cars.
but if they come to the Beamer dealership, they're probably looking to buy a Beamer. If they go to the Honda dealership, they're probably looking to buy a Honda. I can't sell a Beamer while I'm working at the Honda dealership. At least not normally.
Welcome to Honda. Take this beat. That was strange.
Now that was actually, my brother was able to get one of the cars that he got for cheap because it didn't match like everything else on the lot. It was like a car that they had brought in as a used car, and they just wanted to get rid of it because they're like, we don't need this.
It's like, welcome to Honda. Take that car.
It was a car place in Newark called American Auto, and it was a Honda that they had brought in. So he was like, so that's from Japan, and he bought it for super cheap. They got it in on a trade.
Like $2.
It was a used car. I think he got it for like $2,500 or something. I mean, your first car that you buy should be a used car. So now we have a choice to make. Who's Brady? Brady, you're okay, well, it says Taylor, but let's ignore Taylor. Brady has gotten a job in a clothing store. Brady now has to make a choice. Now they eye up Brady. They're like, yeah, okay. He's a cute little kid. Let's have him sell some clothes. We'll give him the option.
You're the model.
He could make commission. So Brady, you could make 18%, but you're not selling cars or houses. You're selling clothes. So each day you work, you approximate, you can sell about $200 worth of clothes, and you're gonna work 5 days a week.
18 times.
Or they say if you're not very confident in selling clothes, we'll pay you per hour. Every hour you work, you get $7.15. You're gonna work 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. So we need to calculate which way would make you more money. So let's look at option A first. So let's set up option A. So Brady, if we want to figure out how much you make if you choose the hourly pay.
Well, $7.15 times 4.
So we have $7.15. That is dollars per what?
Hour. Wait, no, yeah.
Per hour.
It's
So please set up the fraction like I have it.
$28.
Hold on. I want to make sure you get paid for everything that you do.
But
Then you told me to do what?
multiply it by 4.
Multiply by 4. The 4 is 4 hours per day. Now, did you only work for 1 day?
No.
No, you're not a quitter. How long do you work? 5 days a week, because we want to look at earnings per week. We want earnings per week. Check this out. When I set up my 5 days over 1 week, watch what happens to my labels. My hours on top and bottom cancel each other out. My days, cross-canceling of units. My days cancel each other out.
So it's
$143 a week.
Do I have anything to do in the denominator?
No.
No. So my numerator label is dollars. My denominator label is week. And we get how much? 143. So option A, he'll make $143 in the week.
There's a simpler way.
Making money.
You could not live
No.
I could.
Well, if you're a teenager, it wouldn't be bad.
So we're not arguing if you could live off that or not. We're just looking at what you could potentially make. You're also not working that much, 4 hours a day. That's not very much. Option B. Option B here is 18% commission on the total sales. So Reagan, let's say that you also had this choice. How would you calculate how much you could make off your commission?
I would do 0.18, which is 18% in, physical form. And then I would do that times 100 or 200.
Ah, I thought I was far enough away. It'll come back.
Then, that gets you 36 times 5, and then that would get 180 per week.
Ah, so I love what you did. I'm actually just going to set it all up together. If it's $200 per day, and we work 5 days in the week, we could say, I make $200 5 times. Or I sold $200 times the 5 days. Now, Reagan just did the 0.18 times 200, then the times 5. It doesn't matter. Multiplication's commutative. Order is irrelevant. It doesn't matter what order you do this in. You could also do 5 times 200 times 0.18. You could do 5 times... it doesn't matter. But you end up seeing that you could make... Sorry, say it again.
$180
$180. So if you're going to make this... if you're going to make these many sales, which option should you pick? Katie?
B.
Option B. And then, if you get better at selling stuff, you'll continue to make more. Option A, does it matter if I get better at selling stuff?
No.
No.
You get a raise.
So when you're given options, think well, what's going to benefit me and what can I, what am I good at? If I know I'm good at selling things, choose the thing where you get paid for being good at it. If you're just learning, you're still progressing, you're not really that great, choose the one that doesn't stress you out. If you just get paid per hour, you won't be that stressed out about your sales.
Yeah, it's not like it's a huge difference.
Well, especially if I start to sell more, though, then the difference could get bigger. if I sell more. The got it is exactly the same. Does anybody really want to do that, or could we move on and start talking about money?
I want to learn more about money.
Yeah.
I like money.
So both of the
There's like screwed underneath.
let's make sure that you know what's up. Try at least the got it with John. Let's do John's got it. Then we'll go talk about money. So what I would highlight if I was you, he plans to work 7 hours a day, 5 days a week. He estimates that he could sell 3,500 per week. So that's not per day, that's per week. We want to set up A and calculate that, and B and calculate that. And Zion, I'll be coming to you for A. And Katie, I'll be coming to you for B if you guys are able to help me.
So wait, do we multiply by 5 for the other one?
That's what I'm trying to see if you understand. Look at what has been highlighted. It's 7 hours a day, 5 days a week, and what we're trying to solve is the earnings per week. So we want money per week.
Oh.
Oh.
So that is
We want money made in a week.
But doesn't it make the answer different in the example? If you multiply by 5 before or after?
This problem is not exactly identical. It's very, very similar.
Okay.
There's one part that's different.
I made a mistake because I multiplied by 5 after.
So Zion, if we look at option A, first off, you're making a great hourly wage. $16 an hour, that's awesome.
And it's a new job.
My dad makes 42.
Yeah, but your dad's a professional. I'm talking about you as a teenager getting a job. $16 would be crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
Really?
I got.
So how could you calculate how much you make in the week?
You could just multiply 7 by 5.
Ah, so first thing that Zion did was calculate the hours per week. Because if you have hours per day and days per week, so you multiplied those and you got
560. Or wait,
35 first.
35.
So Zion works 35 hours in the week. Then you set up.
Like, are you sure about that?
I know how you got. And your final answer, what was it again?
Oh, $560.
Wait, why do we have? Oh, I thought that said.
So the $16 per week
35 cents.
times the 35 hours, or sorry, $16 per hour times 35 hours per week gives me $560 per week. If you really want that label to be accurate. You have a question? Katie, what about the commission? How do I figure out my commission?
I don't really understand this part.
So commission is always our part. And part is going to equal a percent times the whole. And the whole in the situation for commission
Oh, I get it.
is a percent of, Brady, what's my whole in commission?
3,500.
Yeah, it's what I sell. So my sales per week of 3,500, that is what's going to be my whole value. So I set up, what's the percent they're offering me for commission, Ella?
0.16.
Yeah, it's 16%, so I make that 0.16 times how much did I sell this week, Sebastian?
Hang on.
What I sold this week. You're okay if you want to pass it off, if you're doing work on something else.
I was working on the commission. I'm
Yeah,
not
you're
doing it.
Carolyn? 3,500. And when we calculate this out, what I would get, anybody?
560. So that means probably the hour wage will be better because you know you're gonna
Well, here's where the decision comes. If I don't make my sales goal, I wouldn't make as much. But if I surpass my sales goal, I could make more by commission. So it depends on how good you think you are at selling stuff.
I'd start with the hourly.
Any questions on this? We got the same value either way for looking at my sales goal.
Do we have to do the next one?
No, we are going to skip the next got it. We're going to go on to 3. So how many of you, think about this situation, how many of you would take this deal? You guys are going to want to hear this. I'm offering you a special 7th grade bonus. Who would take this deal? No, just listen. Who would take this deal? I offer you that if you give me $10 this week, or let's say you give me $10 next week. You bring me $10 next week, and I get to keep it for a year. But if you come back 1 year from now, or any time after that, or any time between that really, but you just won't make as much, if you come back to me 1 year from now, that $10 that you gave me, I'll give you $15. How many of you would let me keep your money for a year if I guarantee you you'll get your money back and extra?
If I remember.
Oh my
So hold up, I want some opinions. So we all, hey, if you learn one thing from Estes' class, it's that we can't all talk at once. So Aiden, what would you think about that? I saw you talking. You would or would not? You would? What about you, Brady?
Well, I wouldn't because one, I can't remember some things from yesterday. So how am I gonna...
You don't have to remember it. I have your money. Whenever you come back, you're going to get more. If you forget, no, so here's the thing. If you forget until you're in high school, let's say it's your senior year, and you're like, oh, crap, Hudson has my money. And then you come back and like, oh, because you forgot for so long, now it's actually $25. The longer you forget, the more money you actually get. Hey, it doesn't work if we all talk at once. So Brady, what's your thought on that now?
I probably still wouldn't remember, but I'd probably take the deal.
You think you'd take the deal, Caleb?
I'd give you $10. Wait until I was 35, hoping that you aren't dead yet.
Whoa, man,
I'm
that cuts
sorry.
deep.
And then come back, and then accept all the money.
He's only gonna be like.
Yeah, that's not that hard of math.
Well,
So
you
yeah,
never know.
I'll still probably be teaching right in this spot.
A tragic accident might happen.
So here's the thing. That is what simple interest is. Simple interest is when you give the bank money, and they have to keep it for a certain amount of time. You can't just give them money and turn around and take it back. I mean, you can, just you won't make any money. But simple interest is when you put money in a bank and then you go back and get it at some point later and there's more.
I don't understand that.
Now here's how this works. Here's how this works. So Sebastian gives me some money. So I'm going to take Sebastian's money again, right? So Sebastian invests some money with me. And let's say Brady needs some money. He wants to buy a new car. So I take Sebastian's money and I say, well, Sebastian doesn't need this right now. I'm going to give it to Brady. So Brady uses it to buy a car. Shh, stop talking at the same time as me, please. If you have something to say, raise your hand. I'll respect you and give you the floor. Otherwise, stop talking at the same time as me. So I give Brady Sebastian's money.
Mine. I'm not giving it back.
Brady has to pay me for his car. If he stops paying me for his car, I go take his car. So Brady's been paying me for his car. Month after month after month, Brady pays me for his car until I actually have more than what I initially gave him. So now I've got a lot of things from Brady, and Sebastian comes back and says, oh, can I have my money back? I said, well, this isn't actually the money that you gave me, but now there's more of it. So there you go. And Sebastian's happy because essentially he just made money off Brady, but I said, oh, wait a minute. I was involved in this, so I get to keep a little bit of this. And then I get to keep my money. This is how interest works. When you borrow money from the bank, I did take the paper. When you borrow money from the bank, you pay back more. When you borrow money from the bank, you end up paying back more. When you give money to the bank, you end up getting back more.
Inception.
Not quite. So here's what's up. We got to cover a little bit because I know I have people that want to try their homework this weekend. Yeah.
He sells great paper.
Wait, this is.
And this is actually some of the problem. Money kind of gets a little confusing and mixed around. Is this Sebastian's paper? Did I mix these up?
My paper's good.
Oh, this is
I'm
this one too.
confused.
So forget about whose paper's who.
I have an interest rate of 3 cents.
That's not a rate. That's a constant.
Well, no,
So-
oh.
Simple interest. When we talk about the interest that we earn, the extra money that we get, that is called our simple interest, and that we represent with an I. So this formula, I equals P times R times T, I would highlight that. I would put stars around that. That is a super duper important formula. It's not just super, it's super duper.
Is it important for real life too?
And this is how it works. If I invest $100 in the bank at 2% interest, 2% of $100 is $2. So after 1 year, I make $2. But if I leave my money there for another year, I make another $2. And if I leave it there for another year, I make another $2. So this is what I'm talking about with Brady forgetting his money until he's a senior in high school. He continued to make money, even though he forgot about it. He continued to make more and more money. But it doesn't, you don't have to remember. You don't even have to remember how much money you gave me. I guarantee you're going to get back more.
$10 and $15.
Doesn't matter. I'm going to give you, like when you go to check your account balance, you'll have more money than what you started with. Derek?
That seems like a very bad investment because I went a whole year just to get $2 extra.
But what if you had $10,000 that you could invest, and the amount of money that you could make for doing nothing is an extra $200? What if you had $100,000 to invest, and then the extra that you could make is an extra $2,000 for doing nothing? What if you knew that you were going to have kids down the road, and you could put money in the bank, and they could live off just the interest? What if you were able to survive off just the extra money that the account was earning, and you could keep the initial amount in there to continue earning money? That is really the goal. That's a lot of times called an endowment, when they put money in the bank and then they leave it and they use the interest to pay for things. But that's why we're talking about this. No matter what, guys, like your opinion, I get that some of you guys like, oh, I don't want to put money in the bank. I want to keep all my money. But no matter what, this isn't deciding whether this is a good or bad deal. This is a good deal because you make money for doing nothing.
That's why you deposit.
Now, the stock market is different. You could lose everything. Your bank account is safe. You can't lose this money. There's a thing called the FDIC, the Federal Deposit Insurance Company or something like that. Your money is guaranteed to be there. So we gotta cover just a tiny bit so you guys have a start for your homework. Our formula is I equals P times R times T. Principal is the amount that we start with. So right by principal, I would put, and if you want to use the correct words, I'm going to make a nice alliteration here. It's the initial investment. Your principal is the initial investment, or how much you start with. The rate, we know what our rate is. It's the percent, but we make it a decimal. And our time, this is crucial, guys. This is where most people make mistakes. It has to be years. Your time must be in years. If it's in months, you gotta convert it. There are problems on your homework where it is in months. You must convert it to years. To convert months to years, we divide by 12. Convert days to years, we divide by 365. Josh.
So are you saying that you wouldn't get money in like 6 months?
You would, but you'd have to do 6 divided by 12 and then multiply with that.
And get the dollar.
Yeah.
But what if you're not always guaranteed to have your money in your bank account because someone can steal your credit card?
That's not a bank account. That's a credit account. You're thinking about two different things. There's saving and investment accounts, and then there's credit, which is not really like you don't have money there. It's imaginary money that you get to spend and then have to pay back. A credit card is like a short-term loan. An investment account is you giving the bank money. So I set up, hold up, wait, I have 2 minutes left. She's releasing early. She forgot that it's Friday. My principal amount here is the amount that we deposit of $400. My rate is my 5% or 0.05. And then my time has to be in years, is 6 years. When I compute all of this out, I do 400 times 0.05 times 6, and I will make for doing nothing. I did 0. I make $120 for free, just for leaving my money in the bank.
How many years have you been doing it?
6 years.
You?
No, the bank.
No,
Like,
you.
I've been keeping it.
I'm not actually offering that. I have no way to make money, but I could like connect you with a bank. All right, we are now out of time. Hold up. Here's what I have to say. You can do the homework if you take your time. You do not have to. It is due Tuesday night. We'll finish this lesson on Monday. Well, really, this will probably be the only thing that we do.
What if we make this wrong? Do you still get your money back?
That's what the FDIC is all about. Like, so the FDIC insures your account up to $100,000. So if I have over $100,000, I could give you $100,000, like your bank, and then I could give your bank $100,000. I could give like I can just split my money up, or I could give you $100,000 in this account. I could come back tomorrow. Can I open a new account and put more money in a separate account, and then you separate your money that way? But it's literally an insurance company insures that the money will be there.
No.
Yeah.
There's this genius plan I thought of, and what you do is you put all of your money.
I'm listening. I just got to pull up the stuff for the next class.
You put all of your money in the bank